seals, seed codes, fire codes, and the silicate matrix. The process of assembling DNA strands by working with the higher chakras is the process of bringing frequency from the stellar spirals into the star crystal seals. There is an intimate relationship between the seed crystal seals, star crystal seals, and human DNA. Each seed crystal corresponds directly to and controls the basic function of one strand of DNA. The foundations of human DNA are minute templates of crystallized frequency, electrotonal sound patterns, and electromagnetic light spectra that magnetically group into crystalline form. These minute multidimensional crystalline templates are referred to as DNA seed codes. Of the 15 seed crystal seals within bioenergetic body of the human, 12 seed crystal seals governs the function of the DNA seed codes within the 12-strand DNA imprint. One seed crystal seal directs the seed code of one strand of DNA. The star crystal seals of the bioenergetic body also corresponds to the DNA. Within the morphogenetic imprint of the human DNA, there are dormant gene codes that correspond to star crystal seals. As long as the star crystal seals are not activated, these gene codes will remain dormant. Each star crystal seal is composed of half of the frequency patterns of the dimension above it and half of those from the dimension below. There are 12 dormant DNA codes corresponding to 12 star crystal seals, and each code carries the frequency and light spectra contained within the star crystal seal. These dormant gene codes allow for separate DNA strands to plug into each other, a condition necessary for cellular transmutation. The 12 dormant gene codes corresponding to 12 of the 15 star crystal seals are eventually referred to as genetic time codes, codes of transmutation, or fire codes. Collectively, the 12 fire codes are known as the silicate matrix or the crystal gene. This is the original gene construction of the human organism. Due to various genetic mutations, a very small percentage of humans presently carry the entire silicate matrix in the personal morphogenetic imprint for the DNA. Through distortions within the DNA seed codes, the fire codes of the silicate matrix break down and can no longer function. Without the functional silicate matrix, the star crystal seals of the bioenergetic body cannot activate, and thus the body cannot achieve cellular transmutation. Without operational fire codes, the body becomes locked within its dimensional space-time station. The fire codes of the silicate matrix are restored to function through correcting distortions within the DNA seed codes. As the seed codes are repaired, the fire codes reassemble. During the upcoming ascension period and through the birth of the 6 silent ascension avatars who will realign the DNA imprint, the distorted DNA seed codes will be corrected in the race morphogenetic field, making it possible for large numbers of people to reverse mutate their DNA strands. This reverse mutation will allow for the fire codes of the silicate matrix to begin reassembly in people who do not carry this imprint, restoring the body's ability to activate the star crystal seals and achieve cellular transmutation. This process will not take place automatically. It requires conscious participation to prepare the body for these changes. The higher self and soul level aspects of personal identity will do much of the work, but the choices of conscious personality will have great bearing upon the outcome of these multidimensional processes. Every thought and activity will either assist the higher self in preparing for these changes or detract from its efforts to do so. DNA 101 Seed Crystal Seals. Minute crystalline frequency seals within each chakra and auric field level of a 15-dimensional human bioenergetic field that keeps particles and antiparticles in one dimension separated from each other. Each seed crystal seal corresponds to the frequency band of one dimension and directs the function of one DNA strand that corresponds to that dimension. One seed crystal seal separates the particle and antiparticle units of the DNA strand, keeping the body's particle base polarized and locked into that dimensional band. Separation of particle and antiparticle caused by the seed crystal seal keeps the body's particle base locked into the time continuum and particle pulsation rhythm characterized to that dimension. The seed crystal seals control particle pulsation rhythm, keeping it consistent with the pulsation rhythm of the dimensional band in which the seed crystal seal is located. The seed crystal seal controls the speed at which the dimensional Merkaba fields spin. Release of a seed crystal seal allows the particles and antiparticles of one dimension to fuse and to accelerate in pulsation rhythm, causing the dimensional Merkaba field to accelerate its speed of rotation. Body's particles in one dimension fuse and accelerate, and the rotation speed of the Merkaba field increases. The star crystal seal between that dimensional band and the dimensional band above releases. Seed crystal seals are considered horizontal seals, as they control the horizontal movement of frequency bands, light spectra, and particles in one dimension. There are 9 seed crystal seals located at the center of 9 primary chakras within the structure of the physical body, and 6 located at the center of the chakra centers outside of the physical body, for a total of 15 seed crystal seals within the design of the multidimensional human anatomy. DNA seed codes, base codes, and acceleration codes. Units of minute crystalline frequency that form the morphogenetic template for DNA strands. The template for one DNA strand is composed of 12 magnetic particle units and 12 electrical antiparticle units. The 12 magnetic particle units are called base codes. The 12 electrical antiparticle units are called acceleration codes. Each DNA strand is composed of the frequency patterns and light spectra of one-dimensional band. All aspects of human DNA are built upon this morphogenetic template of 12 base codes and 12 acceleration codes. The DNA base codes in one DNA strand represents the 12 magnetic base tone frequency of one dimension that corresponds to that strand, and that DNA acceleration codes represents the 12 electrical overtone frequencies contained in one-dimensional band. The electrical overtone frequencies of a dimension correspond to the magnetic base tone frequencies of that dimension's antiparticle counterpart in the parallel universe. The 24 seed codes of one DNA strand serve to set the body's particle and antiparticle content in the dimensional band corresponding to that DNA strand in both the particle and antiparticle universe. Each set of base codes and acceleration codes in one DNA strand is controlled by one seed crystal seal, which serves to keep the particle base codes and antiparticle acceleration codes of the DNA strands separate, thereby maintaining the body's particle base within the pulsation rhythms of that dimension. Release of the seed crystal seal allows base codes and acceleration codes in the DNA to fuse or plug into each other and accelerate in pulsation rhythm. This allows the body's particle and antiparticle base in that dimension to fuse and accelerate in pulsation rhythm. The fusion of the DNA base codes and acceleration codes causes minute crystalline structures to manifest within the molecular structure of the body. The 24 seed codes of one DNA strand serve to set the body's particle and antiparticle content in the dimensional band corresponding to that DNA strand in both the particle and antiparticle universe. Each set of base codes and acceleration codes in one DNA strand is controlled by one seed crystal seal, which serves to keep the particle base codes and antiparticle acceleration codes of the DNA strand separate, thereby maintaining the body's particle base within the pulsation rhythms of that dimension. Release of the seed crystal seal allows base codes and acceleration codes in the DNA to fuse or plug into each other and accelerate in pulsation rhythm. This allows the body's particle and antiparticle base in that dimension to fuse and accelerate in pulsation rhythm. The fusion of the DNA base codes and acceleration codes causes minute crystalline structures to manifest within the molecular structure of the blood, which prepares the body's biochemical, cellular, hormonal, and metabolic systems for acceleration of particle rhythms and transmutation. Dimensional particle rhythm acceleration causes the star crystal seal between that dimension and the dimension above to release. Release of a star crystal seal activates a dormant genetic time code or fire code within the two DNA strands corresponding to that star crystal seal. Star crystal seals. Minute crystalline frequency seals between chakras and auric field levels within the 15-dimensional bioenergetic human body that keep particles and antiparticles from one-dimensional band separate from those in the dimensional bands above and below. Each star crystal seal corresponds to and is composed of the frequency band from the dimension above and from the dimension below the star crystal seal. The star crystal seal directs the interaction between the two DNA strands that correspond to the dimensions above and below the star crystal seal. One star crystal seal separates the particles and antiparticles in one dimension from the particles and antiparticles in the dimension above, and then another separates the particles and the antiparticles in that dimension from those in the dimension below. The star crystal seals keep the particle fields of the three-dimensional body and multidimensional consciousness separated by controlling the angular rotation of a particle spin between the 15 dimensions. The separation of particle fields into three-dimensional groupings, which the star crystal seals create, keep the particle content of the body locked into the three-dimensional field of one harmonic universe. The star crystal seals control the angle at which the personal dimensional Merkaba fields will rotate, and thus also control the body's relationship to the harmonic Merkaba fields, which is the three-dimensional Merkaba field of one harmonic universe. Release of a star crystal seal allows the personal dimensional Merkaba field to align on a vertical axis with a harmonic Merkaba field, which causes the harmonic Merkaba field rotation to accelerate, aligning it with a Merkaba field of a three-dimensional harmonic universe above. Release of the star crystal seal also allows the particles and antiparticles in one three-dimensional field to merge, fuse, and transmute into the dimensional bands of the harmonic universe above. As a star crystal seal releases, a dormant DNA code called a genetic time code or fire code activates within the two DNA strands corresponding to the star crystal seal. Star crystal seals are considered vertical seals as they control the vertical movement of a frequency band, light spectra, and particles between dimensions. There are 9 star crystal seals located within the structure of the human body, and 6 located within the multidimensional bioenergetic body, which is outside of the physical structure, for a total of 15 star crystal seals within the design of a multidimensional human anatomy. DNA fire codes, activation codes. Units of minute crystalline frequency within the dimensional morphogenetic imprint for the DNA that link DNA strands together and allow for cellular transmutation, teleportation, time travel, and dimensional ascension to take place. Also referred to as codes of transmutation or genetic time codes. One DNA fire code corresponds to each star crystal seal. Each DNA strand contains half of the fire code that corresponds to the star crystal seal from that dimensional band above the dimensional band to which the DNA strand corresponds. It also contains half of the fire code corresponding to the star crystal seal from the dimensional band below that corresponding to that strand. The DNA fire codes allow one DNA strand to plug into and fuse with another. When DNA strands fuse, the base codes and acceleration codes of one strand merge with those of the strand above, fusing particles and antiparticles between dimensional bands. This allows the 3 particle bases of a 3-dimensional human body to merge, the separation between them dissolving. When the 3-dimensional particle bases of a body in one harmonic universe merge, the particles and antiparticles are able to rapidly accelerate and pulsation rhythm, turn into light waves, and transmute into the dimensional bands of the harmonic universe above. The fire codes activate when their corresponding star crystal seals release. Once activated, the fire codes rapidly accelerate the assembly and activation of the base codes and acceleration codes of the strands to which the fire code is attached. The seed crystal seal in the next chakra up then releases and particles and antiparticles within the dimensional band corresponding to that crystal seal fuse, activating the next star crystal seal. When the fire codes activate, the blood crystals formed by the release of a successive seed crystal seals merge, forming complex blood crystal structures which carry the frequency patterns of 3 dimensions. The 3-dimensional blood crystals trigger further biochemical, cellular, hormonal, and metabolic acceleration. This biological acceleration allows the body to raise the rhythm of particle pulsation and shift the angular rotation of a particle spin. The 3 smaller dimensional Merkaba fields of the body merge and open into the harmonic Merkaba field, which then merges with the harmonic Merkaba field of the harmonic universe above. The body cells accelerate, transmute into light, then remanifest within the 3-dimensional field of the harmonic universe above. There are 12 fire codes dormant within the original human 12-strand DNA imprint, each corresponding to one of the 12 star crystals. The 12 fire codes are collectively referred to as the Silicate matrix or crystal gene, the gene of transmutation. The fire codes break down through distortions in the DNA seed codes and become dysfunctional until the DNA seed codes are realigned. The star crystal seals of the bioenergetic body cannot release unless the silicate matrix is operational. DNA mutations and the ascension cycle. Prior to mutations of the human genetic code, the process of seed crystal seal, star crystal seal, and fire code activation happened automatically as a natural part of the biological evolutionary process. As the morphogenetic field drew in frequency from the dimensional unified fields, progressively assembling those frequencies into the DNA imprint, then activating the imprint through manifesting a corresponding DNA strand, the seed crystal seal would naturally release. Then the next star crystal seal would release, and the DNA fire code would activate, progressively transmuting the cellular structure into a less dense state of matter. The body's systems were under conscious control, and the immortal human could choose desired time-space placement by consciously altering the personal Merkaba field's bioenergetic structure and particle pulsation rhythm. Presently, these processes do not operate as they were intended due to various DNA strand distortions and mutations. The coming ascension period between 2012 and through 2017 offers humanity a rare opportunity to rapidly reverse mutate these genetic disorders, realign the DNA imprint with its original 12-strand pattern, and accelerate the evolution of biology and consciousness by thousands of years. Humans who do not make the shift to bridge zone Earth will not have this opportunity again, for the stellar Merkaba spirals do not fully align with the Merkaba fields of a descending planet. The DNA of humans on the descending phantom Earth will undergo another mutation. The DNA will be unable to assemble beyond the third strand, and portions of the fourth strand that had begun to assemble will dismantle and deactivate. This genetic mutation can be remedied only through a host matrix transplant, through which a soul matrix of harmonic universe 2 allows that harmonic universe 1 incarnate to energetically and genetically braid into its soul matrix morphogenetic field. Individuals of Phantom Earth who do not have a host matrix transplant will find their genetic codes, bodies, and consciousness deteriorating over several generations until the ability to reproduce is lost. Cloning tactics further reduce the genetic imprint and ultimately will not preserve the species. This is precisely the condition that occurred within the Zeta race strains. Due to the stellar spiral alignments, stellar activations, and stellar wave infusions of the ascension period, the process of cellular transmutation can be briefly called into action. This will allow for self-generated bioenergetically induced transmutative evacuation from Phantom Earth to take place. For those who participate in the stellar activation process, the DNA strand mutations will be cleared from the race morphogenetic field of the sphere of Amenti, and the corrected imprint will be transmitted through Earth's grid into the bioenergetic fields of humans who have prepared their systems to receive these energies. And mind you, again, this book was written in 2002, and the stellar activation cycle happened between 2000 and 2017 in that time period. The frequencies carried on the stellar spirals can then create activation and release of the star crystal seals. which allow the seed crystal seals to open the DNA fire codes to activate. Through this star crystal seal activation process, the particle pulsation rhythms of the body and consciousness can be accelerated, and the DNA rapidly assembled and activated, so individuals may shift into the bridge zone or the Terran time cycles. Each of the upcoming 6 transmutive stellar activations will allow various star crystal seals to release and DNA strands to activate. A minimum of 1.5 stellar activations must occur for an individual to successfully shift into the bridge zone. Those who do not make the shift will end up on Phantom Earth in the D3 time cycle after 2017. Reincarnation out of Harmonic Universe 1 will require a host matrix transplant. Releasing of the star crystal seals of the human body is a complicated process of multidimensional physics. We do not have enough time to teach you of all the intricacies involved in this process. For this reason, our future work will be focused upon bioenergetic techniques and you can use to facilitate the process rather than on a laborious conceptual foundation such as those presented in this book. It is important that you comprehend the basic concepts of these energetic dynamics so future exercises will make some bit of a rational sense to you. To take this opportunity for accelerated evolution, you simply need to know how to use your mind to direct frequencies. You also need to know what frequencies are available at what times via the stellar spirals, how to bring these frequencies into your bodies, and where to direct them once you have drawn them in. Frequencies from the stellar spirals are drawn into your body via the higher dimensional chakras. The chakra centers located outside of the body are the primarily dormant at this time and do not transmit frequency directly into the lower body and the body chakras. By intention, you can use the stellar spiral frequency to activate these higher chakra centers, then draw energy from the spirals through the activated chakras into the lower chakras and the appropriate star crystal seals. You must know what stellar spirals carry, what frequencies, and when the spiral aligns with Earth, making those frequencies available. Where your higher and lower chakras and star crystal seals are located, what frequencies each chakra can draw in, and how the chakra corresponds to the star crystal seals that you need to activate. The in-body chakras of 1 through 7 corresponds to the frequency band of dimensions 1 through 7. The higher dimensional chakras that correspond to dimensions 9 through 15 are called morphogenetic chakras. As they open into and draw energy from the morphogenetic fields of dimensions 1 through 7, which are correspondingly located in dimensions 9 through 14. The lower dimensions and chakras are linked to the higher dimensions and morphogenetic chakras through the metagalactic core at D8 and the 8th chakra. The activated 8th chakra allows you to draw frequency from the morphogenetic chakras down into the lower chakra centers. And to activate certain star crystal seals, you will open the morphogenetic chakra that corresponds to the lower chakras with which the seal is associated, then draw frequency from the morphogenetic chakra into the star crystal seal. It says here, it's not difficult to do once you understand the correspondence between the lower chakras, their star crystal seals, and the morphogenetic chakras. And they provided a lot of charts here, but it is a lot of charts, and I'm not going to post them all because it's pages and pages and pages and pages. And if you want the PDF file, I have it. And I'm more than happy to email it to you. Just send me an email at angelicrealmsproductions@gmail.com. I know it says that it's not complicated, but I can tell you just from reading what I read, it feels complicated, doesn't it? It's going to take quite a few times to absorb this information. I mean, quite a few times to watch this video. And if you have the PDF file, you can have it printed at a store and have it printed double-sided, because otherwise it gets very expensive. To print just this alone, it cost me a little over $200. The book is for sale. I think it's at Amazon for $700. You can also find this. You can buy this book. It's Voyagers, Volume 2. I think it was edited in 2017. So I raised some concerns about that. It's The Secrets of Amenti, Ashayana Deane. So you can find this at her website, which is at arrayas.com. It's www.arhayas.com. And so you can order this already set, ready to go. All of her information's there, all of her books and CDs and everything. I don't usually read anything past 2012. Thank you for watching. Thank you for trying to comprehend. I'm with you on this. My comprehension of this is very minimal. I know a little bit, but not. It just is going to take time. And I do believe that most of us are in that ascension process, so you're not going to be in the phantom. So don't worry about that, okay? And there are things to do to activate, okay? I do very minimal. I do the 12D shielding, the Maharic shield, and that's pretty activating, you guys. So if anything, that's the one I really recommend doing on my YouTube. It's on my Rumble channel. You can always deep dive and do more, but I don't push that. That's up to you if you want to. Another energy protection shield that I do is it's my own personal protection shield that my guides have given me. It's called the Christus Diamond Sun Body. And if you take the course that I'm teaching starting May 22nd, it's a 6-week course. Once a week we meet. You will get to have this energy protection shielding to do, and it's fairly easy. It's more easy to remember versus the 12D shielding, but it's still very activating, and it still connects to the 12th dimension. I would like to share, I don't want people to be worried that they're not going to be ascending and they're not going to be activated, and their crystal seals won't be activated. They will be. It just will take more time if you don't do these certain songs or visuals that are in these books that have been given. There's a lot, and but I want you to know that if you do download some of these PDF files or buy the books on arrayas.com, you can learn the activations. But we've already gone through quite a bit during the stellar activation cycles. So we do have seeds, crystal seals that have been activated and opened. So with that, I want to thank you for watching, and much love.